Hi, I'm Christopher, a research software engineer with Research Software Workshops, and it's a very warm welcome to Introducing Version Control with Git Part 11. This is a bonus chapter. You don't really need to know this to understand Git, but it's kind of quite a useful thing to sort of know generally. So the workshop material is at the link at the bottom of the page, and we're on the bonus chapter section, which if you look at that, it should look something like this. So you may have noticed when we were looking at our version dir on GitHub that the hello world at the top of the page was a nice sort of like in bold header as opposed to how it was written in the original file. If we look at readme.md, it was written with a little hash in front of it. That's because this text file, is written in a markup language called Markdown. That's indeed why we end it with .md. .md is an extension to mean this is a Markdown file. Now, Markdown is a very simple format that is used by tools such as GitHub to render nice web pages from simple text like this. So the hash hello world in readme.md is rendered as a nice bold header on the GitHub web page. Now, Markdown is a very simple text language. It's a bit like a wiki language if you've ever used one of those, and it basically allows plain text to be easily converted to a richly formatted web page. Indeed, this entire course and website are written in Markdown. And they're all hosted on GitHub as well. So any changes you'll see this course evolve, we make those changes and we save those versions to GitHub. So for example, if you look here, I'm going to open this in a new tab, this is actually this page written in Markdown. So you can see we use hashes to mean those headings, and then that is the actual how you write a hyperlink, a link to a web page. We have things like here, little backticks means this is how we would write things which look like commands. So that's this block here and this sort of set of text here in a block. And there are also things for basically adding in bullet points and numbered lists, etc. Now you can find out how to use Markdown on this web page. This is the Markdown guide. And essentially on here, you can have a play with the syntax. So if we go on the basic syntax page, these are all the things you can write and how they're then rendered and shown within your page. Now what I'd like you to do, just get rid of this page here, is, as I said, this combination of GitHub and Markdown enables you to easily build wiki-like websites and documentation, and indeed it's becoming common practice for software projects or indeed any bit of data on GitHub to have some Markdown files, probably called readme.md, which provides a description of what's in this directory, and you'll see this used a lot. And indeed, when you write things in Markdown, there are lots of tools to turn Markdown into really pretty websites. So for example, if I have a project here, so let's have a look at this GitHub site. So this has essentially some nice Markdown, which is then giving me a nice background on this web page, on a nice view of the project and all of the links, etc. within it. And there are tools which will enable you to convert these into web pages that kind of look quite pretty. So okay, what I'd like you to do as an exercise is basically have a look at this Markdown guide and the basic syntax. And I'd like you to create a new file called markdown.md and basically just have a play with writing some Markdown. When you've written something, add it to the repository, commit the change, and then push it up to GitHub using the commands that we now know. Add it to tracking, commit the version, and then push the version once you've committed. Press pause, and when you come back from pause, I'll have a go at this as well. Okay, you've now unpaused, so I'm going to have a go at this exercise as well. So let's Control L, clear the screen. I'm going to create a new file called markdown.md. And in this file, I'm going to write some Markdown. So this is a header. And then this is how we do bullet list. We can do numbered lists like this. And the nice thing about Markdown actually is you can repeat the same number and Markdown will automatically do the counting for you. And this makes it easier for you. You shouldn't be trying to count these things up and it will sort itself out. You can put things in backticks. Backticks will mean this is in a box. And you can add some links. Here is a link. And let's link to this course. There we are. And indeed you can put pictures in as well. I mean, we're going to have some fun. So I'm going to save this file. Git status, my favorite command. We can see we have an untracked file, so I'm going to add that. Git status, we can see that we now need to commit this file. Git commit -a, adding in a file to play with Markdown. Save that. Git status, we can see we're now version 1 commit ahead of our backup on GitHub, so we can git push to send that version to GitHub. And then git status again. Working tree is clean. Everything is up to date. And if we look at our version on GitHub, let's close this down, reload the page, you can see there we have our markdown.md. And if I now look at that, there's the header, there's the bullet list, and yep, as I said, it automatically numbers things for you, puts things in a box, and then hopefully my link is correct. So again, if you want to quickly make some websites, maybe for a project, maybe for your research group, or for the your group that you work with, this is a nice easy way to do it. Cool. So that's at the end of this section. I look forward to seeing you in the next part, where we basically look at the summary and we wrap up this entire workshop. See you there.